Right, I've tried to do this lead mixing video a few times and it keeps going on too long, and I'm sorry about the wind, it's leaking into the microphone. So I'm going to do it in 3 parts, this 3-point mixing, part 1, 2 and 3, because a big long video just isn't going to work. So we've mixed the kick and the bass. Let's have a listen to that. Okay, so we're mixing left to right. Please go and see the other videos if you don't understand. We're mixing left to right, and this is the chorus part that we've decided we like, and we are gonna mix. So what I've done is, I've done something I can bring in, like sort of a, and this is one we prepared earlier, and this is the original lead that we had. And quickly, monotony is a big thing in producing. What I mean by that is, the repetitive listening bores you to death. Sometimes the initial thing that you do and you're like, wow. And then obviously after hearing it a million times over, it becomes old in your head and it becomes shit. So you change it. And then, if you don't get that one right, you change it again. Because what happens is, the repetitive listening bores you to death and you think, oh, it's shit now. Sometimes I'll have a 20 save track and I'll go back to the first save and it's not even the same track. And sometimes if I produce when I've been drinking or something, I forget about the track. So I'll have these odd occasions where I'll load up projects just because I won't know what the name is. I don't remember. And I'll be like, wow, didn't even know I had that. So the main thing of this video is about getting your idea down and sticking to it. And I don't really even like this track, but I need to stick to it. And the best way I can come up with showing you how to mix the leads, which is really hard, is to try and show you the process. So my advice will be, sometimes it's better to just stick with what you've got, because if something makes you go wow, then it's pretty much most of the time that's a good thing. But obviously the more that you carry on doing fucking producing, the more you get bored of it. Anyway, here we go. So we soloed the part. This is the mix and the lead. And remember, my third point was the lead is basic, weak and shit. So what I've done is, I'll start with the middle of the lead and listen to that. Okay, let's start. Okay, so we got the bass of the lead. Remember the frequency spectrum, the black box? It's the bass of the lead, the top of the lead, and the middle of the lead, and we're creating a wider lead. But all in all, I don't like this lead. It's weak, basic, it's wrong. So what I'm going to do is I'll go into each part, and because I haven't got time in the video, I'm going to have to drag in the ones I've done. But the principles stay the same. I'll go into the middle one, solo it, and then I'll go to my audio, I'll get my EQ, and then I'll adjust the EQ to get some body. Then same again, I'll fine tune it with a multiband, and then I'll give it some woomph with a compressor. Now, because this video keeps taking so long, sadly I have to just drag in one I've done because it's just not working. So what I have to do is I have to drag the one that I've done into here to show you, because it's just not working. So I'll play this part now quickly. So same thing, it's the middle part, and what I've done is, I have to do this really quick, guys. It was weak So what I've done is put a distortion on it called Overdrive, which is a really good plugin. And then on a distortion plugin like Overdrive, I take out the dynamics, which sort of makes the harmonics of a sound more dominant. So if I go to you, hey, the initial hey is the fundamental, then the harmonics of that hey is what you don't hear. It's sort of like the hey, 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 hey. And if you look at a frequency spectrum, you will see them harmonics. They're like little peaks afterwards. So an overdrive sort of amplifies them and distorts the whole thing. And obviously with the black boxes we talked about, we're in the middle here with this one. So I've took the overdrive up. Again, if I just deselect these quickly. So that's what it was like with the overdrive. A lot more powerful, but sometimes you slip into the mistake of thinking loud is better. And then I was like, okay, now it needs the harmonics. Now it needs something to, alleviate them aftertones. And a saturator is what that's for. And a saturator, in a nutshell, basically saturates the vocal or the sound, the sample. And it's good for bringing up them little echoes that you don't really hear. And the more drive you put on, the more you hear them. The bass knob is for, if you turn it up, the lower harmonics get heard. The depth is the transients for the higher harmonics, if you put that up. And then the soft synth here is pretty self-explanatory. It's more of a curve of the power that it's going to come in. So we'll keep it on analog. The frequency now, we know this is the middle synth, so I've kept it at 1.4, which is, we know this is the middle. Here's 1000 kilohertz, 1.4. And the width adjusts how much of that frequency you're going to hear. So with a wide width, you'll probably hear all of this. But I want it narrow because I want it more prominent in that range. So 1.3, so it's going to be more prominent here. Okay. Then after the saturator, this is what we got. So now we've got body, it's loud, but we need to tone that down. So we put an EQ on. So this is the mixing stage again, guys, like what I was saying. This is where we like the sound. This is the sound. We like the sound. Now overdrive, saturated, we like that sound. Now we mix it. So we put an EQ on, and this is what I went for. Took some low end out, high end, and this is what we got. Okay, so now we are really in the regions of having a fuller sound. And again, this is the fine tune, like I said, bit of the middle out, compressed the top and the middle, and then just boosted the new sound we had, and we had this. So you hear the difference there. Look how much that's toned that down. And then at the end, the woomph, the compressor. Now this is what I will say. That's a high, that's a lead. Remember what I said? More ratio if something's thinner. Because what the ratio does is compresses more. It gives you more of a fuller sound, like a warmer sound. Bit more of a faster attack. And what that means is that compressor will kick in quicker. And the release is, like I've said before, it's how long it holds that compression. The more release you have, the more it will tone down the fuller sound. So I go, hey. So the more release we have, it will be, hey. The less release I have, it will be, hey. Okay. So with the compressor on, that's what we've got. Now, I didn't notice, but I need to say, I put the reverb on this. And my reverb is the standard reverb you get with each session. But I turn everything off, put the size to bigger, no pre-delay, full stereo sound, touch down on the decay time, half reflection, diffuse. Diffuse is a little bit like a release. The less diffuse you've got, the more it's going to be like, hey. The more diffuse you've got, the more it's going to be like, hey. The scale is it's like the shape of the room of the diffuse. So that goes hand in hand with that. Density is how much of the reverb is actually heard. Less density, you won't hear much. The more density, you'll hear a lot more of the reverb. And the decay time is more of the after sound trailing. It's like a trail with no decay time. The trail will end fast. With more decay time, the trail will be longer. Okay, so I've turned that on, which I never noticed. So that's with the reverb. Without the reverb. So we'll go back to that. Now, here's where I have to sort of cheat. I'm going to have to drag in the others here now, guys, because I haven't got enough time to do all of them. God, that wind is terrible. It's nearly blowing my studio down. Okay. So, this is what we've got now. And again, just quickly on the second one, I just put a multi-band on. On the third one, I just put an overdrive on. So again, it's about getting that sound of what you like, guys, for each one, and then mixing them. So this is what I've got. And that with the kick and the bass. Okay, now, here's where I need to be quicker. I don't like that. And it's fine to not like something. But how do we change it into something else? That's the problem. Now, there's two things you can do. There's loads of things you can do, sorry. But the first thing I done was I took this pattern, the same clip that you can see here, I just took the same thing, and I added it to 2 serums. Now, I'd love to go into this quicker, but in a nutshell, I loaded a serum, put that pattern into it, and then pick the presets. And I think we all can do that. And basically what it did was, what I didn't like about that, is it's just weak. So I thought, you know what, we need something with more body. So I put that same pattern into a serum, and this is what I come up with. As you can hear, there's more body in that. Okay. Then I thought, you know what, it needs a bit more. So I just duplicated that serum twice. There they are, both of them, with the same pattern. And this is what I come up with. Bit more of a stab. So them two together, I'm going to put these two on. Okay, and then with the older pattern, so as you can hear from that now, it's a bit more like a professional fat sound. And all I've done, guys, is just take the same pattern and just choose a preset that adds more body. Remember what I said about the frequency spectrum? Try and hear where it's lacking. That's very clearly in the top range, middle range, but it's got no low end, no body. There's nothing there. So when you listen to this one, see the way it's more dominant in the middle range? Okay, so that's what I come up with for them two. And then once you have your two together, that becomes your second part lead. See, 2 leads, and then you group them. And then what you do is, in the global group, you then mix that to how we were doing. And I chose a compressor. And I please, if this is what you're doing, do the same, because it's so much easier if you do it like this. So I chose my new second sound with the same pattern and put them into a group. And now I need to mix them. Remember what I said about get your sound, like your sound, then mix it. So compressor first to add some warmth. Okay, without. Hear it? Hear the difference? With. So we've got some volume. Now I'm happy with that volume, so I'll put an EQ on to sort of, you know, gel it together with the other lead. Is it with the EQ? Again, go through quickly because I haven't got time. Multi-band for the tweaking, you know, the fine tune. Then once I've got the fine tune, get more warmth on it. Remember what I said about a thin sound? You can go up in the ratio, but I've just held a 2 there ratio, and then a limiter just to control the peaks. See the peaks just coming in? Okay, so they are now mixed to this lead. The 2 leads, same pattern, more body. Okay, so now what we're going to do is play that with the bass and kick. Okay, now I hope that's self-explanatory, guys. Of you know, each part that I've gone through is sort of the same process, but you need to listen each time to what you don't like or what you think it needs. And if you like the pattern but you think that's quite high-endy, then double it and then pick a preset that's middly. And then, you know, if you really want to, you can then take that pattern and select it all and bring it down in the key of C. Remember, because this track's in the key of C. Bring it down to a lower key. Go through the presets until you find a more lower, warmer sound. Well, okay, so I'd like to say that's where it was, but it wasn't. I didn't like that. So, like I said, nothing's set in stone. So I thought it needs something else. So what I did was, I thought, you know what, new pattern on this now. And what I did was, I loaded a serum. For some reason, these are coming up with... I don't think that's right. So I'm going to have to leave that out for now. Anyway, I loaded a serum, and for argument's sake, I picked this Nero 010. Okay, so then I armed the track and I played it with my lead. So what I'll do is I'll do that now. And in the key of C that at the start of this track, we know is, you know, the same keys you can choose for any instrument. And I thought I'll play a little bit of a ditty along with it. I'll do one as a demo and then I'll show you what I come up with. So I'm going to press the key of C. Okay. I know that was pretty shit, but basically I settled on this one, which we're going to hear now. In the key of C. Okay, and then, like I said, you pick your sound, you like it, add your EQ to change the mix. This is where we're mixing. And sometimes when you do the EQ and you like it, then just put a limiter on it just to control them transients. So then I was like, okay, I like that. That's a good add. I'll double that. So I've doubled it 3 times and picked different transients, different presets, and this is what I come up with for the second one. Okay, and all I did to that one was just add a limiter. So as you can see, both of them have the reverb turned up. So both together. Okay, so just to recap, the lead was weak and that was our third point, and I had no body and it was basic. So what I did was double it with 2 serums to add more body, same pattern. But then I was like, okay, I didn't like the pattern, so I added a new pattern in the key of C with a serum preset. Settled on the one I liked the sound, so then I obviously mixed it. And I was like, okay, that's sound. So then I doubled that. And then I doubled it again, so we've got 3 of them. Okay. And then slight things on these guys. Look, just an EQ on that one. Limiter on that one. So this is what I add in the end. Ready? So I was like, okay, that's a good add to what we've already got. So I grouped them. They now become lead 3. Lead 3, and then we mixed that one then in the global group. And what I did was I just added an EQ with some cuts, and a Slate Digital mastering plugin. Okay, so this is what we had in the end. Okay, and then with the lead 2. Lead 1. Okay, I'm going to try and go into this more detail because I'm already on, that's like 20 minutes, that's like far too long, you're well bored by now, but I hope you liked the video. There's going to be part 1, 2 and 3, and I'm going to try now and touch on all different points, but the next thing will be getting the chorus into some sort of structure to create a track with, and then we'll move on to the breakdown. So hope you liked the video anyway.